interrupt this program to bring you Governor Kevin Stitt's State of the State address, live from the Oklahoma State Capitol.
You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor at this time to recognize the officers of the executive branch and statewide officials. If you would please stand as you are able to be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure to announce the arrival of representatives of each of our statewide courts. Please stand as you are able as the House and Senate Sergeant of Arms escorts the representatives of the Civil Appeals, Criminal Appeals, and Supreme Court into the chamber. Senator McCourtney, you are recognized for a motion. You may be seated. Senator McCourtney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House appoint members from the Senate and the House respectively as a joint committee to notify the governor that the second regular session of the 58th Oklahoma Legislature is assembled in joint session and ready to receive him and hear his message.
As the President of the Senate, I am appointing the following senators to serve on the Governor's Escort Committee: Senator Frank Simpson, Senator Marty Quinn, Senator Julia Curt. Speaker McCall appoints the following representatives from the House: Representative Tommy Hardin, Representative J.D. Nolan, Representative Dustin Roberts, Representative Sean Roberts, Representative Todd Russ, Representative Emily Virgin. The Chair recognizes Senate Sergeant of Arms Adam Kane for an announcement.
Mr. President, the Joint Committee from the House and Senate, the Chief Executive, the Governor, the Honorable Kevin Stitt.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Members.
Thank you.
Members of the legislature, executive officers, members of the judiciary, and people of Oklahoma. It is my distinct honor to recognize my friend, the Chief Executive, our Governor, Kevin Stitt.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President Pro Tem, Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell, members of my cabinet, Mr. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Mr. Presiding Judge of the Court of Criminal Appeals, and my friends, the members of the 58th Legislature, tribal leaders, to my wonderful wife and partner, First Lady Sarah Stitt, and to my parents, thank you so much for being here. My brothers and my children mean so much. And most importantly, to my fellow Oklahomans, I am honored to stand before you today and begin my 4th year as your governor. It has been a great privilege to lead our state. I am thankful to the citizens of Oklahoma and my Heavenly Father for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Pro Tem, members of the House and Senate, last year we showed Oklahomans what's possible when we work together. We cut taxes for every single Oklahoman. We made record investments in education and gave parents more choices. We grew our economy, we modernized our government, and we stood up to defend the rights of Oklahomans, including protecting the lives of unborn children. Today, I'm proud to say we are well positioned to continue our momentum to becoming a top 10 state. I want to praise my colleagues in the legislature for being fiscally conservative and responsible with taxpayer dollars. In the face of criticism, we stayed the course. We made smart decisions instead of going on a spending spree. It's a different story in Washington, D.C., and so are the results. Our national economy is struggling. Inflation is at a 40-year high. Gas and groceries are more expensive. Supply chain issues have made everything harder to find. But if you live in Oklahoma, it's a different story. While other states are shutting down their economies, we've never been more open for business. In fact, 40,000 more Oklahomans have jobs today compared to when I took office. As unemployment skyrocketed in some parts of the country, ours is down to just 2.3%. It's the lowest in state history. Across the country, a huge number of Americans are moving to states that value freedom and trust their citizens to make choices for themselves. There has never been a bigger difference between a red state and a blue state. Freedom-loving Americans cannot escape liberal lockdown states fast enough. Since April of 2020, more than 27,000 of them have moved to Oklahoma. That includes Jonathan and Erica, who moved here from Seattle, because they believe in freedom and personal responsibility. Can you imagine leaving a place like Norman, Oklahoma for Southern California? I mean, who would do that? You'll get that in a minute. Oklahoma, I'm proud of the progress we've made in just 3 short years. But today, the state of our state is at a crossroads. We have a choice between 2 paths. One path leads towards a top 10 state. It's a familiar road. It's paved with unity, fairness, and equal protection under the law. The other path leads to a jigsaw puzzle of jurisdiction. From the beginning, I've sounded the alarm on the Supreme Court's McGirt decision, because I knew then and I know now that even a narrow Supreme Court ruling can fundamentally change a state. Oklahoma has been robbed of the authority to prosecute crimes. Put simply, McGirt jeopardizes justice. Over the past year, we've done everything we can to protect law and order and limit the impacts of this decision. Our broad coalition includes Attorney General John O'Connor, all 27 district attorneys across our state, especially Steve Kunzweiler in Tulsa County, Matt Ballard in Craig, Mays, and Rogers counties, police chiefs like Wendell Franklin in Tulsa, the Sheriff's Association, the Farm Bureau, the Cattlemen's Association, environmentalists, the Petroleum Alliance, and city leaders. Recently, we've won 2 major victories to protect law and order. First, the Supreme Court agreed McGirt is not retroactive. That means that convicted criminals stay in prison. The Supreme Court also agreed to hear another case. A win in that case would let the state go back to enforcing law and order and protecting more crime victims in eastern Oklahoma. That's the way we've done it since 1907. The new rules put the federal government in charge, and it isn't working. In 2013, a 12-year-old boy named Billy Lord was riding his bike in Wagner. Richard Roth was driving drunk and hit Billy and killed him. The state convicted Roth for Billy's death and sentenced him to prison. But Mr. Roth is white. And since Billy was part Cherokee, the guilty verdict was overturned. The case can't be tried in federal court, and Roth could go free from punishment without even so much as a traffic ticket on his record. That's not fair, and it's not equal protection under the law. Billy's mom, Pamela, is here today. She told the court that while her son was a tribal member, he was also a citizen of the United States and a citizen of the state of Oklahoma. She said allowing the man who killed her son to walk free is an insult to Billy's memory and an insult to justice. Pamela, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm fighting for justice for Billy every single day. Will you please stand? Surely we can all agree that no crime should go unpunished. Billy deserves justice. All victims deserve justice. Oklahoma, here's the deal. This isn't about winning and losing. This isn't personal. It's not Kevin Stitt versus the tribes. Instead, it's about certainty. It's about law and order. It's about fairness, equal protection under the law, and one set of rules. We're all Oklahomans. Let's work together to solve this. With that, let me turn over to our legislative agenda for this session. We start this year with an incredible opportunity. Oklahomans have elected the largest supermajority in state history. We have a very clear mandate to enact conservative policies that protect liberty and defend against the Biden administration's federal overreach. I challenge each of us to be bold. Let's capitalize on the opportunity we have, and let's make Oklahoma a top 10 state. To reach our destination, we need a map to stay on course. Our roadmap to top 10 has 4 checkpoints. Number 1, driving hope for all Oklahomans. Number 2, protecting Oklahomans and our way of life. Number 3, making Oklahoma the most pro-business friendly state in the entire country. And number 4, delivering taxpayers more for their money. Let's start with driving hope for all Oklahomans. Hope is not a wish or a feeling. It's a proven science that can be measured and applied. More than 2,000 studies have shown that hope is the greatest predictor of success. That applies to education, work, health, mental health, social relationships, family, and trauma recovery. Hope impacts everything that matters to us. I want to take a moment to recognize the First Lady, my wife, Sarah Stitt. She created the Sarah Stitt Hope Foundation to bring the science of hope to communities across Oklahoma. And over the next 2 years, we'll be training every single state employee on how to apply the science of hope to their agencies. Sarah, on behalf of all 4 million Oklahomans, thank you so much for your hard work. You stand up. We can drive hope for all Oklahomans through education. Throughout my time as governor, I've committed to putting our students first. Across the country, parents are waking up to the learning loss caused by closed classrooms. They're demanding better for their kids. I'm proud that Secretary Ryan Walters and I have been fighting to put our students first and keep our schools open longer than anyone in the country. In Oklahoma, we listen to parents because we know God gave kids to parents, not to the government. We expanded the Equal Opportunity Scholarship to provide more choices for low and middle income families. That helps students like Jonathan Wright. He's a freshman at Oklahoma Bible Academy in Enid. When Jonathan was 3 years old, he was adopted out of foster care by a single mom named Lisa. Jonathan has used the Opportunity Scholarship to go to Oklahoma Bible for 4 years. His mom said that the mentors and positive role models at his school have transformed his life. Jonathan and Lisa are here today. Would you please stand up and be recognized? We provided record funding for all public schools, including charter and rural schools. These initial investments were good first steps for Oklahoma's education turnaround, but there's much more to do. Just 15% of Oklahoma high school graduates are ready for college in English, math, reading, and science. Less than 1 out of 5. We can do better than 47th in the nation when it comes to our kids. We've tiptoed around the edges for far too long. It's clear the status quo is not working. We need to take bold steps. It will take courage, and it will take a desire to make a generational impact. This is our moment. We know education is not a one-size-fits-all. And I pledge to support any legislation that gives parents more school choice. Because in Oklahoma, we need to fund students, not systems. Pro Tem Treat filed a bill called the Oklahoma Empowerment Act. It makes sure that money follows the student, and it would make us a national leader in school choice. Let me be clear. Oklahoma has a lot of great schools, but the results don't lie. We need new ideas, we need more options, and we need higher standards for our kids. This is just common sense. We have a duty to make sure nothing stands in the way of an Oklahoma student achieving their full potential. And there are roadblocks, literally. State law creates artificial barriers for school districts that don't put our students first. Our school transportation formula is outdated and it's broken. We desperately need to modernize it. Another roadblock in our current systems keeps some of the best teachers out of the classroom. Right now, some talented teachers choose to leave the classroom to make more money as an administrator. Oklahoma students can't be the best without the best teachers. That's why I'm proposing matching funds so that our best teachers can make six-figure salaries and stay in the classroom. It's the right thing to do for our teachers and for our kids. Another way to support Oklahoma educators is to protect their paychecks from union bosses. The same unions that have pushed critical race theory and school closures intimidate new teachers into handing over part of their salaries. Liberal unions want to keep a stranglehold on their cut of teacher pay. Enough is enough. Every other profession lets you opt in to health insurance and other benefits at work every single year. Unions should be opt-in, not opt-out. The second checkpoint on our road to top 10 is protecting Oklahomans and our way of life. As elected officials, this is one of our most important duties. We can't do that if we don't focus on securing fairness and safety in the medical marijuana industry. To the citizens of rural Oklahoma, I hear you. This is causing major problems in our communities, and we must get it under control. When Oklahomans voted for medical marijuana, they were literally sold a bill of goods. The state question was misleading, and it has tied our hands as we regulate the industry. Because of that state question, Oklahoma charges just $2,500 for a commercial license. Even California charges up to $181,000, 72 times more. As a result, we have 7 times the growers than California, with just 10% of the people. Next door in Arkansas, they have 8 growers. We have 8,300. You know as well as I do that not all of that product is being sold legally. This is a perfect example of why we need to make sure initiative petitions represent Oklahomans and not out-of-state special interest groups. Oklahomans deserve to know the details before voting to change our Constitution. While we can't change the past, we can learn from it and improve our future. We are getting the right leaders in place and untying their hands to enforce the laws. I've directed our law enforcement to crack down hard on the black market. Agents have been in the field making arrests. Let me be clear. Drug cartels, organized crime, foreign bad actors have no place in the state of Oklahoma. We will bring them to justice. Oklahoma is a proud law and order state. As other states and cities are still defunding their police, we have a chance to stand apart. Brave men and women who put their lives on the line deserve leaders who will have their back. Now is the time to transform and modernize our state law enforcement system into the nation's best. To do this, we need to tackle 4 critical areas: the recruitment, retention, the health and training of our troopers, our agents, and investigators. First, we must protect our officers. Mental health does not discriminate. Depression and suicide do not discriminate. It's long overdue, but this year we must prioritize the health of our officers and create the Oklahoma First Responders Wellness Division. Its foundation is a peer-to-peer system designed to recognize the early signs of trauma and give immediate help to officers who need it. This could have saved Ronald Hook. The continued trauma he experienced as an officer seemingly went unnoticed and unaddressed. After 15 years of dedicated service in law enforcement, this family man, husband, father, and friend tragically ended his life. Ron's daughter, Alicia, and his sister, Sissy and Susie, are here today. They support creating this wellness division so other officers and their families won't experience this same tragedy. Alicia, Sissy, and Susie, so sorry for the loss of your dad and your brother. Thank you so much for being here today. In the same way we can attract and support teachers, we need to provide law enforcement officers competitive pay. We need to provide the best training available, more career options. I'm requesting that we pool our resources and build a joint statewide training facility. Officers put their lives on the line every single day. The least we can do in return is provide them with the highest quality training. Our state's law enforcement also desperately needs a consolidated, unified command structure within a single department. 43 other states have this. Oklahoma needs to get it done. A unified command will create the career growth opportunities that today's recruits expect. I want to pause here and I want to thank each of our brave men and women in law enforcement who sacrifice each day to keep our communities safe. Other states may turn their backs on the blue, but as governor, I will always stand with those who protect and hold that thin blue line. Our third top 10 checkpoint is making Oklahoma the most business-friendly state in the country. Last year's pro-business policies are already paying dividends. Canoo, an electric vehicle manufacturer, is a perfect example. Last summer, Canoo announced it will open a factory in Pryor next year and bring 2,000 jobs to Oklahoma. Canoo's CEO, Tony Aquila, said he chose Oklahoma because he wants to be where the puck is going, not where it's been. Since Canoo's initial announcement, it added a technology hub, software development, customer support and financing centers to Oklahoma. That's at least 700 more high-paying jobs to our state. Tony Aquila is here in the gallery today. Tony, thank you for believing in Oklahoma and for helping to pioneer the future of our economy. Tony, please stand up. Canoo is just one company that has seen the benefit of Oklahoma being open for business. Thanks to the governor's closing fund and the legislature's investment in business development, the Department of Commerce is coming off its best year ever. Secretary Scott Mueller and his team are working hundreds of opportunities, thousands of jobs, and billions of dollars in investment in our economy. But Open for Business isn't just about recruiting new companies. We've launched an innovative platform to help Oklahoma manufacturers solve supply chain issues. Our system connects them to buyers and sellers and keeps their money in Oklahoma. More than 400 companies are already signed up. We are delivering on creating jobs and growing our economy. But we're at a critical junction when it comes to our state's workforce. Across the nation and here in our state, businesses are struggling to find the employees they need. We need more nurses, more teachers, more engineers. Tinker Air Force Base is rapidly expanding. I met with the Secretary of the Air Force at the Pentagon because we expect to add 6,000 to 10,000 jobs there over the next 5 years. Our state's workforce needs to grow at the same pace as our businesses. That means we have to be bold. Our entire education system must be aligned and motivated to meet this challenge head on. Let's tear down silos between K through 12, career techs, and higher ed to train the next generation. Every student needs to be college ready or career ready. The road to success looks different for every Oklahoman. We're all made in God's image, and He has a unique plan for each of our lives. That's why we have to provide career paths to match the skills of our students with the jobs in our communities. Let's increase apprenticeships in high school and pathways to jobs that don't require a college degree. Let's align and leverage our system to train every Oklahoman with the skills they need to provide for their family. In the middle of a nursing shortage, our universities can't be turning away qualified applicants like they are now. Instead, we need to reward universities for producing graduates in critical areas. Our state depends on it. Last year, while states like New York were billions of dollars in the hole, we cut taxes for every single Oklahoman. We took care of the 300,000 working families being hit the hardest by increasing the earned income tax credit. We can and we should do more for Oklahoma families. That's why I'm proposing to eliminate the grocery tax. Oklahoma is just one of 13 states that taxes groceries, and ours is one of the highest. Many Oklahomans are already struggling under the weight of record inflation. Let's give them more help this year, because after all, we need more taxpayers, not more taxes. States across the country are continuing to cut taxes on their citizens. 9 states don't charge a personal income tax. Many others are racing to join them. We can't be left behind. My vision is to create a taxpayer protection plan that responsibly lowers income taxes according to our state revenue. Cutting taxes based on how our economy grows ensures we'll always have money to pay for core services like education and roads and bridges. And as our economy grows, Oklahomans share in our success by keeping more of their hard-earned money. I look forward to working with the legislature to modernizing our tax code this session. Another way to do that is to get rid of the income tax on military retirement benefits. Our military installations are so important to our state, and we want to keep our retired veterans here in Oklahoma. It's a common sense way to support those who defend our freedom. Let's get it done. The fourth and final checkpoint on the road to top 10 is delivering taxpayers more for their money. This requires strategic investments in modernizing government agencies, transparency, building our savings account and infrastructure. Oklahomans hired me as governor because they wanted their government to run more like a business. From day one, I've challenged my agency heads to deliver taxpayers more for their money. We're doing it by making agencies more effective and responsive to our citizens, not by growing government. We have 2,000 fewer state employees than just a few years ago. And we've invested in technology to provide better results. In May, we'll launch a unified, cutting-edge HR system for all state agencies for the first time in history. In the past year, too many Oklahomans had to wait too long to get a driver's license. Basic services that should have taken a few minutes were taking days or even months. This is unacceptable. We can't let it happen again. That's why I'm calling for the legislature to partner with me to make it easier than ever for Oklahomans to interact with state government. Let's start with driver's licenses and vehicle registration, because that's something we can all agree needs to be fixed. There's not a business in the world that measures its success based on how much money it spends. Government should be no different. I want to thank this legislature for its commitment to transparency, especially in education. Last year, I worked with 22 state lawmakers to request the first ever comprehensive audit of the Oklahoma State Department of Education. Because tax dollars belong in the classrooms, not in the pockets of bureaucrats. There are no rubber stamps and blank checks on my watch. That's why we're launching a new budgeting process for our agencies. It's called Transparent Oklahoma Performance. You can track our progress online at top.ok.gov. And I will keep shining a light to protect taxpayers and hold our government accountable. I also want to applaud the legislature for prioritizing savings over spending. Today, we have the largest savings account in our state's history with over $2 billion. This year, I'm asking the legislature to raise the cap on our savings account to continue protecting our future. This would give us financial security and the ability to make strategic investments like never in our state's history. One of the ways we can make a generational impact is by investing in infrastructure. Secretary of Transportation Tim Gatz has taken this challenge head on. Across the state, we're improving pavement and safety on urban and rural highways. We've made it to top 10 in bridges. A major project at 235 and 44 is almost complete. We've made great progress, but we know more can be done. The future of our economy will depend on having a modern highway system that manages congestion and has reliable travel times. Let's be bold. I'm calling to invest $13 billion in transportation over the next 10 years. This will close the loops around Oklahoma City and Tulsa. We'll widen the Turner to 6 lanes the entire way. We'll expand the Will Rogers in northeast Oklahoma and parts of the Kilpatrick in Oklahoma City. We're also adding more access points for communities all along our system. This will make travel easier and lead to more economic development all across the state. The Kickapoo Turnpike has been open east of Oklahoma City for a year now. It's created an economic explosion for the city of Hera. In the last year, more than 2,200 new homes have started construction. Hera's first hotel opened in November, and the city estimates its population will almost double in 3 to 4 years. We have an opportunity to bring that kind of growth to more cities all across our state. We'll announce more details, including drone corridors and emerging mobility later this month. This is our moment to make Oklahoma transportation system the very best in the entire country. Infrastructure is not the only place we can make a generational impact. The opportunities this year are endless. Will we prioritize special interests or the people we serve? Will we prioritize the next generation or the next election? Now is the time for big, bold decisions. Let's leave a legacy for generations. As I begin the final year of my first term as governor, let's look back at the progress we've made. When my administration took office, Oklahoma was coming off 2 years of revenue failures. We had almost no money in savings, which meant budget cuts were an annual challenge. State agencies reported to unelected bureaucrats, and they weren't being held accountable. It was so out of control that the Department of Corrections wanted a $1 billion budget increase every single year. Our state was reeling from a teacher walkout. And on a personal level, I felt our state lacked the confidence and pride I saw in other parts of the country. Because of our great work together, Oklahoma's turnaround is well underway. Our fiscal house is in order. We're coming off a year where we made record investments in education while still cutting taxes. We're fourth in the nation in budget reserves. Our state's credit rating has gone up. We've held state agencies accountable by putting the right leaders in place and aligning them with a common vision. Oklahomans have a renewed sense of pride in our state and in our way of life. Thousands of people across the country have said, sign me up. They're moving here to be part of the turnaround that's happening in our state. But to get to top 10, we can't be satisfied with the status quo. Jim Collins wrote in his book, Good to Great, good is the enemy of great. Will Rogers put it another way. The road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. Oklahoma has all the bones and the capabilities to be the greatest state in the nation. And we've come too far to settle for anything less than our best. We must never lose sight of the fact that Oklahomans elected us as leaders. They sent us here to protect their rights and to make sure everyone in our state has equal opportunity to succeed. Just because your life is great, or your business is thriving, or your school is fine, doesn't mean we don't have an obligation to make sure everyone has that same chance. We're all here because we have a higher calling to do what's right, not what's easy. I truly believe Oklahoma can be and will be a top 10 state. Let's work together. Let's get it done. I'm so proud to be an American, but I thank God every day that I'm an Oklahoman. God bless you.
Representative Eccles, recognized.
You've been watching Governor Kevin Stitt's State of the State address from the Oklahoma State Capitol. We now return to regular programming.